once you have the shard, you can kind of cast it further away, at least because of that AoE. But yeah, I think the upheaval is just much more value. You don't necessarily think of Shadow Word as a great blink cancel. If they can escape with, if they can escape anyway, Shadow Word it has a little cast point. They're probably gonna out. It's just not that clean break you need. Still, Arkosh, they get the line, which is really good control for their part. But Wind and Rain, they're building up in that AoE damage we talked about. They've got the Dark Willow on hand. They can play with Fear plus the Dream Coil, so they've got a great way of breaking out. This should be a Fatal Bonds Warlock game just for that damage
This
amp.
looks like
Arkosh, though,
is
yeah,
it a Mars game, John, for Wind and Rain? Like, do you just go
looks
offlane
like
Mars
it.
here? You've already got the
It's
Dark
been
Willow
left.
set up. You've got the Warlock Fatal Bonds, Golem drop in the arena. Even the upheaval that you love to talk about.
Uh-huh.
Pretty good in the Mars arena, just kind of setting up to get that maximum slow. It does
Yeah.
seem like a good Mars game. Gives you a nice way to kind of
I'm
catch out the IO as well before a team fight really breaks out, and just kind of try and delete the hero before you really get started in that team fight.
Yeah, I'm surprised that the Mars was left in. Like, it's just such a solid offlaner to have when you see the puck, when you see the Warlock. It's a very natural pickup here. You don't have the best setup with the Dark Willow in this case in that dual lane of Dark Willow Mars, but it's still really potent. And as mentioned, you can combine with all of your spells quite nicely. You can kind of hold yourself against a Gyrocopter as well, although the Gyrocopter can kind of abuse his early magic damage to kind of make that lane difficult.
Yeah,
So it's a bit of a back and forth one.
they go for the Spectre instead. I mean, I was gonna say you just spear him away, but it can be a little bit challenging in the heat of the moment if he is using that rocket barrage and homing missile and everything like that. But for now, they go for that Pos 1 Spectre. This hero we've been seeing a bit of, John. It hasn't looked great to me. It's been looking pretty off. It still takes a very long time to farm up, but the difference feels like even once you get to that late game, you're not really... It's not a guaranteed win anymore with Spectre. It's kind of a 50-50. I feel like something like the Gyrocopter will be able to kind of contest the Spectre later on. We do tend to see it. I think we have seen it recently. I'm just not sure if it was in NA or SEA. Nevertheless, going back to the ban stage, John, they do indeed get rid of the Mars now. And the DK has also been removed by Wind and Rain. Any other offlaners you see here that fit the bill for the Radiant side? Unless they run the offlane puck and pick another mid hero, but that doesn't seem too much of a good idea. I think they are looking for an offlaner of some sort.
Yeah, I think they're, again, something with AoE, just to kind of play with your Fatal Bonds here, and also with a little bit more control. Like, you have Dream Coil, you have the Bramble Maze, and the Dark Willow channel, the delayed stun, but none of that's really reliable, at least from the Dark Willow. So you want something to compensate, maybe something like a Sand King off could work. You get the flexibility of Sand King mid as well, depending on how you want to run it. You don't have last pick overall, so Wind and Rain are going to have to show their hand first. But Spectre coming through, going back to that pick, it's a bit surprising to prioritize it over Mars when, you go into it, Spectre's not going to be a priority ban into that last phase. I think the logic here for Wind and Rain is that they've got Warlock, so their lane's already going to be a bit more passive. Warlock plus Spectre ensures that the Spectre finds stable farm no matter what the matchup will be. So in this case, the Slardar is not going to have the best of times just completely zoning out a Spectre. They do still have good chain stuns here from Arkosh, and you can kind of burst through the healing the Warlock provides. Wind and Rain do go into the Tide Hunter, so they've got Ravage plus Dream Coil plus a Terrorize to play with now. Really nice still with Warlock. You've got a lot of stuns, but they're all kind of tied to cooldowns. So outside of Dream Coil, you've only really got the Bramble Maze and the Crown from the Willow, which is not reliable enough. And Arkosh are really abusing that. Like, they get the Ember Spirit in this case. It's very difficult for the side of Wind and Rain to actually lock in the Ember. Cassius E might get a good silence off, but your instant stuns aren't quite there. You've got delayed stuns, pretty much, and big ults that you can play with, but those have really long timers here for Wind and Rain.
Yeah, I mean, the way I'm looking at these drafts is you look at Wind and Rain, you kind of already talked about it, but they have those long cooldowns. They're going to take a bit of time to be able to fight. You look at Arkosh, they don't need much farm, they don't have high cooldowns, they could really set a pace and a tempo that Wind and Rain can't keep up with this game. And that might be the story of this game one. It does look, just based off draft, that Arkosh is going to be playing a little bit too fast for Wind and Rain to really put up with. And if you're trying to rely on this Spectre later on, I don't think she's going to get as much space as they're hoping for during game one. It just doesn't seem like they have the draft to really protect the Spectre throughout this game. So when I look at the drafts, I automatically into Arkosh. I think they're just going to really outpace the side of Wind and Rain.
Yeah, I mean, they just need to play quicker. Once they see, say, Chaotic Offering or Ravage committed, they can easily just look for the next fight. It's very long cooldowns for Wind and Rain. And as mentioned, they don't need much farm. Gyrocopter, probably just looking for either the SNY or Maelstrom into Ags. With an IO, that's all you're going to need for the most part to start joining these fights. Ember Spirit, probably just Phase Boots, Orb of Corrosion, the usual build-up nowadays for the Ember, and you're all over the place. You've got a lot of minus armor with the Slaughter to play with, along with that Orb of Corrosion build-up on the Ember. So there's a lot of potency here for Arkosh, and Wind and Rain, they're going to have to really hold their lane steady, somehow manage to secure that timing for the Spectre down the line. Not a very easy thing to achieve up against this lineup, so we'll see if they can kind of line it up and maximize their Warlock, Spectre, and hold out, and yeah.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, do not look at the minimap. It's Arkosh Gaming at their best. And Canis, he's given the sorry. There you go. They're learning, John. Arkosh, they are slowly learning. As we are going to have a pause, and Dougie will show them some forgiveness.
Yeah. Like, I think we're all just very glad to see the game go forward. So if the demons want to draw, then let them draw. I have no control over my teammates here. I'm just a simple Slardar player right now, you know?
That's right, you are playing in this game. I forgot about that. Did you want Slardar, John? Were you a bit upset that the Warlock got picked on Wind and Rain side?
It's alright. Like, Slardar is still fun. Used to play a lot of him. Surprisingly, I used to play him mid a long time ago. You know when that was the thing? You just spam your Slithery Crush. It was for a while. You'd rush Vanguard. And you just hold mid lane and you just play with Slithery Crush. A long time back. Long time back. Used to be fun. You know?
Never tried it, John. Arkosh, they're going to give something a try. Mid lane, they might go for a very early first blood attempt. Nice little observer ward being placed. Arkosh, they're going to wrap even deeper.
30 seconds.
Through the Radiant jungle. Very sneaky stuff. Of course, they do have a very kind of strong draft at level 1s. They do spot out Y in that mid lane on the Warlock, but he's not really making his way over to the right side of the map. I don't believe Y will make his way over. He probably won't give the opportunity, and yeah, Arkosh, they'll make their presence known now. Kane is even going to show up. Places a quick little sentry ward in the mid lane. And it is within the Observer, so they know it's there. Is Goat's even going to stick around now, gone to Y, while the rest go to deny the ward off? Canis needs to go up the hill? No. He can do it from the low ground, and Crow will help out. And that'll be it. A nice quick ward. No first blood yet, but I think you're still pretty happy if you're Arkosh.
Yeah, you managed to just secure yourself pretty much an advantage at mid, so Canis Volpus has an easier time watching rotations coming in for Cassius E. He's going to have to be a bit cautious about the approaches from the left side, but for Puck in this matchup against Ember Spirit isn't too rough. As the levels build up, of course, the Ember can kind of hold the lane quite nicely. You can either opt for Flame Guard to clear the wave or Sleight of Fist to dodge out the Puck spells and kind of play off of there, and should be fine. Like, Cassius E gets some good harassment off from Canis Volpus, though, early on, just using that slight level advantage quite nicely, but shouldn't be too rough. Like, the bottle should be flying out soon, and that's when mids just kind of stabilize for a bit.
Yeah, I mean, for Cassius C, obviously, it's really about getting the harassment in right now before Canis gets those levels up and starts to be a bit of a nuisance with those chains and Sleight of Fist spam. Of course, up at top lane, Pale Horse and Crow going to be there up against Sword and Sabo. Pale Horse already taking quite a bit of damage on this Gyrocopter, but of course you've got the support IO there, so Crow will heal him up slowly but surely. Looks like Sword should have a decent enough time, though, just farming up calmly on this Tide. Until Pale Horse starts popping the flat cannon like that, but Brambles does fly out. Crow is going to be targeted. It's a lot of damage out. He is going to tether away, however. Sword, he did not have any other abilities to throw out onto Crow. You're definitely going to be a little bit careful of Sabo. Those Brambles, they can lock you in a couple of times at a time and can end up stacking up to a lot of damage.
Yeah, but this is still a pretty hard lane to slow down a Gyrocopter. Just look at her harassment coming out onto Sword. Crow doesn't really care about losing too much HP. Has the headdress up, so you can just kind of hold. Although,
yeah, we say that Crow, he might just drop here and does. Sabo, he might even get the Courier and does get that as well. Pale Horse, he's going to try and chase him down a little bit, but is not going to be able to secure the kill. Well, I do agree with the point you made. It's these early levels that Arkosh need to be very careful in. It does seem like Wind and Rain are able to at least punish for first blood.
always good news for their side. At least slowing down the IO. I think you still worry about Pale Horse finding farm. Like, sure, you zone out IO, but if the last hit still come in, then Pale Horse doesn't care too much.
Well, spot lane as well, John. You've got Rose there with Y. Gonna try and go in right now. Gremlo around on the slanter. They weren't really able to close the gap, however. Meanwhile, top, Sabo. He was taking quite a bit of damage there, and so did Sword. In fact, they're both out of regen. They are both completely out of regen on the side of Wind and Rain at this top side. There is damage happening everywhere. Every lane getting quite low, but back to the top lane though, John. No regen is not going to feel too good.
No, you're at the disadvantage there for Wind and Rain. Just the fact that you have IO means that lacking regen doesn't feel as bad as long as Tether is there, and you've got the headdress running. For the side of Wind and Rain, you're going to have to, carry some over with a Courier. There is a salve here for Sword coming in, so at least he'll have that to play with, but he doesn't have too much mana left as well, and so the next time he uses Gush or Anchor Smash, that's going to be him empty, and Sabo now has to also consider when he casts these spells, only has the clarity to kind of regen through, and even that clarity is never safe if the Gyrocopter gets a hit off, so have to be a bit more patient up top. I think talking about that bot lane a bit more, like, it is going back and forth between Rose and Y and Goat and Gremlo. The one key thing that keeps the Spectre in lane is just, it's a Warlock lane. You've got Shadow Word, you just pop your mangoes, you've got Basilius up to regen some mana now, and you can't really completely bully out Rose. Sure, Gremlo can close in, I can close in with my 2 bracers, get some right clicks off, bash a bit, but Spectre is fairly tanky even early on. Like, she's got 6 armor, she's got a decent amount of HP, a Warlock just kind of cancels off that trade in the end, unless you get some good chain stun.
I certainly agree with that. I mean, Y should just be able to keep him alive, and of course you've got that Ring of Bassi up to make sure he always has the mana, but Goat is going to be a little bit annoying with the mana drain, just kind of draining it away from Y, and well, if you get him to have no mana, then you can really harass out Rose like Gremlo's trying to right now. Feels like the Warlock, he's going to have the mana pretty soon, and Rose should be just fine. So it's hard to imagine the Spectre being bullied, as now he does have it up, and there you go. There's another Shadow Word out for Rose. However, top side, Crow, he does end up dying. Pale Horse, he's going to try and run, but the Cursed Crown is going to stun him up. Sword, bit of a body block there, but it's not going to do too much. Meanwhile, mid lane, Canis Vulpus, able to solo kill Cassius C. We'll just TP right back to the fountain, leaves a remnant over in the lane, and we'll be back, but that is a very impactful kill there for Canis.
Yeah, and he's feeling great. Already all chats as well when he gets that kill. Letting Wind and Rain know what he thinks of this matchup. He's doing really nice down mid. Kind of ahead of the puck by just about a wave worth of creep, so it's not too bad for Cassius C, but you're at the point here for the Ember. Level 6 is up. You're going to contest the power runes a lot better than the puck, and Cassius C is just not really able to apply as much harassment out with the Illusory Orb, not with the shield up on the Ember at level 3. You block off a lot of damage, and you can just really clear out the wave, shove it out a lot easier. So Wind and Rain, they don't really have the supports coming out to help. I think that's the one big factor. You have them coming out now for the power runes, but they don't really do much, and Canis Vulpus now has that haste.
Goes in with the chains. Cassius C going to be somewhat careful, but gets the Dream Calling out. He does have help around. They get the Cursed Crown to boot, and they have the damage. Very nice kill. That's what you wanted to see, and Cassius C gives it right back to Canis Vulpus. That's what you've got to do up against Arkosh, and you can't let them trash talk you. Retaliation is a must.
Definitely. Like, they try to get in your heads, you get into their heads, Those demons deserve a bit of a smacking down. We'll see if Wind and Rain can keep that up. So far, looking great. 3-1. Less than 1k lead coming out for Arkosh. So it's not too bad for there. And as well, But that initial aggression is certainly lining up for Wind and Rain a lot more. They're at the point where Rose can just kind of stay alone in that bot lane. You can allow your Warlock to actually go help contest the runes, get some pulse off, get some EXP towards that level 6. And Gremlo is also getting that solo space out with the Lion Knot here for a bit. So you should hit that level 6 spike relatively nicely on the Slardar. At that point, you can maybe look for more opportunities for the chain stunning. You should have enough damage with just level 1 Corrosive Haze to right-click someone down.
Oh, go. Try and go in onto the Warlock. Gremlo is sneaking his way over. Why? Has Shadow Word, but hasn't used it on himself yet. So Gremlo, he's going to get right in, and now he does try to use it, but it is going to be way too late. I suppose either way, he was not going to get out of that. So Gremlo able to pick up a very nice kill on the Slardar. Mind you, you look back to Rose and the Spectre, John. He is still top of the CS board. Not really struggling too much, but now they go in again with the Earth Spike and the Mana Drain and the Bash to boot. Gremlo doesn't have the follow-up stun and won't be able to kill him off. And well, while that was happening topside, Pale Horse, he was able to kill off Sword.
Yeah, just a nice little kill for the Gyrocopter at the point where the damage output of Gyro in lane is pretty obnoxious. You've got max level Rocket Barrage, value points in your other skills, so you can hold your own, get the damage off, although down mid.
They've got the Dream Coil, but do they have the damage? He has the Waning Rift up, but will actually not go for it and does or bottom for the regen instead. Fair enough, I suppose he knew he wasn't going to kill him, and now he's going to go back in. Maybe with the orb up again, he could try. And he will, but it won't be enough. The Flame Guard just blocking off too much magic damage. That'll allow Canis to just TP back. Rose, very close to dropping, but not quite yet. The upheaval actually saving the day, to your delight, I'm sure, John. And why we'll be able to heal him up. Meanwhile, topside, Pale Horse has gone way too deep. He's going to get punished for it. Sword able to get some revenge there on the Tide. That's going to make it 4-3 with a slight net worth lead for the side of Wind and Rain. Arkosh still doing just fine. In fact, I thought Sabo was the one that was dying, but Crow's being chased down. So everything going very nicely for both teams, I'd say. I mean, it's a very even game so far.
Yep, it's not too bad for either side. You're getting some decent farms still for your pause ones. No one's had really any time to stack up the jungle, which hurts the Gyrocopter a little bit more than it does the Spectre. However, for Arkosh's end, with a Corrosive Haze up, Rose is never quite safe. Wise always going to have to stick around this lane now just to prevent that burst damage from coming through. And they've got Finger up and go.
Well, Sword going to be a bit of danger here, but does turn around. There's your Haunt in from Rose, right in onto Pale Horse. They will get the Gyro and Sword. He does not go down. Crow also drops. In fact, they even get his Courier on top. That's a very nice Horn in from Rose. Helps secure some kills, and we can just farm top now.
Yeah, that was perfectly timed for Wind and Rain. That was after Arkosh was trying to make a move down bot. They're trying to chain stun the Spectre. Didn't quite line it up. They were looking for the Finger opportunity to get the burst off, and they don't manage to lock in the Spectre before the Haunt comes in. So very well played from Wind and Rain. Just, again, playing with these big, long cooldown spells quite nicely. They've got the Ravage already on cooldown. They've got the first Haunt successful. So you're looking and feeling pretty darn great here. Like, all you really need now is level 6 on your Warlock to have the Chaotic Offering to play with next. Not too much pressure to hit that spike. I think the one thing for Wind and Rain right now is you kind of have to start considering objectives. You want to enable your team to go into the jungle to scout out any potential stacks. For the Gyrocopter, there is a bit of an ancient stack here in the triangle. Not too much else around the map, as again, the sports haven't really had time to build up. But Wind and Rain will want to contest some of these stacks, prevent the catch-up farm for the Gyrocopter in coming through, as it does look like we are seeing probably the Maelstrom build up here for Pale Horse. So once you have that up, camps come a lot easier to clear out. The one thing for our cautious end is that with Finger up and Corrosive Haze, you might want to consider getting a smoke gank out. Of course, you're probably going to need a blink on Gremlo to at least have him blink in with his Crush and set up. Before that, you can still approach. Maybe having your Ember up front would be the way to call that out, but you kind of still lack items here. You only have the Orb of Corrosion. Once you do have the Phase Boots, Ember's right-click damage is going to be really nice, so you can definitely max that out with a Corrosive Haze if you want to go on a target.
Yeah, I mean, you certainly can. Looks like we are going to have the go-ahead now from Sword. Arkosh, ready to go. I certainly would like to see that finger kill sometime very soon from Goat. Yeah, I mean, obviously you'd love to go after the Spectre. Unfortunately for him, Rose has TP'd up top and rather haunted up, and that's another kind of nice reason that Rose is probably here, is he knows the Lion has that finger up and doesn't really want to have to deal with it. Where is he gone? Top side, Goat has TP'd up to the outpost. So it looks like they do want to set up around here somewhere. Sabo is going to be around to kind of block the way for Goat, so they are going to scout this out. Ops ward down, that should have been spotted, but Goat unable to hit the Earth Spike. Sabo just got enough information for Rose that now he can be very cautious about his positioning, especially considering how close he is to that Blade Mail pickup. I don't believe Arkosh will be able to really set up anything here.
No, I don't think they want to force it as well. Like, you got level 6 up on Y, so you can start threatening the golem, and if someone jumps, you can just drop that spell and take the kill.
As you see, mid lane, homing missile gonna land. He went for the coil very late, and he does end up getting punished for it quite heavily. He could have coiled very much earlier on. I'm not sure about why he waited so long, but now bot lane Ravage Sword does get a massive Ravage off, but it is only 2 versus 4. Sabo, he's the first one to drop, and now Sword is going to have to try and run, but it is not looking great for him. Gremlo comes in for a stun, relocate out by their IO. Canis dropping to the tier 1 tower. In fact, everyone is, but Sword, he won't have the damage, nor the vision. However, Canis is back. Sword's still going to be in a lot of danger. Cassius now has TP down, but you haven't got the Dream Coil, so you can't really lock down Canis. He should be just fine. He will be. Wind and Rain, unable to find anyone.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice play from Arkosh, forcing out the Ravage, so it's on cooldown again. You don't have to worry about that big team fight spell. Of course, for Wind and Rain, all of this movement out is giving space out to Rose to just farm the top lane. So he's clearing out that top tier 1, he's getting his CS up, getting that farm going. Blade Mail is already up and running for Rose, means farming camps are a lot easier. So you do have to watch that space being given out here, and we still haven't seen Goat manage to find that opportunity for Finger. I think that's really hurting the side of Arkosh, though. Let's see if they can force something up top soon.
Well, they're going to try. Goat's in. Slide a fist out. Finger. Just making sure Y dies instantly, as now Rose is going to be chased down. Canis getting quite deep with the haste rune, but well, it's a haste. He's going to be just fine. But he's running back up now. Sword is still taking damage. The haste does wear off. Canis has 1 remnant to abuse. So you see, oh, he's got the coil out. This is looking really bad now for Canis. Going way too far in, and there's your tip out now from Sword, and oh, the all chat again. Another easy, this time from Sword, and Canis is really copying it as... I'm not sure what Shrimp Blue means. Canis is asking them to get their own punchlines, Josh.
Yeah, it's not lining up well for Arkosh. You're definitely not happy about your Ember just going too deep with a haste, but they managed to find a tier 1 bot. It's free farm for Pale Horse, so you are getting something out of these trades. You're getting space out for the Gyrocopter to really farm up. The side of Wind and Rain have sort of shoved in the mid lane as well. It's all the way down here to 308 HP. 1 more wave and some commitment should be able to find that big objective, so the side of Arkosh will be kind of forced to defend that. They still have team fight spells here for Wind and Rain. They've got Ravage and Chaotic Offering ready to go, so they can force the issue mid if they want that objective.
For now, Pale Horse, he's going to just farm up some ancient stacks, take them before they are under contention, but he should be around to defend the mid tier 1, and if he wants to push, he certainly can right now. Smoke up though, Wind and Rain, they're going to go up towards the top side again. You've got the Golem, you've got the Ravage. That Gremlo's the one that's been defending that top lane, but it is very low, and Sword's going to run right into him now.
On the hunt for radiant forces.
Gremlo, he's going to be fine. He does get out of range. So Wind and Rain, they should have more than enough time to get this tier 1 top and go back to defend the mid tier 1 if it does get forced in. Plus, there is no bottom tier 1 right now, but Sabo has been around here. Oh, he casts the TP off. Good, gonna get the Earth Spike, and yeah, he's gone. I think that the TP was a bit of a misclick there. Of course, Goat was around with the Earth Spike, and well, eventually he does end up paying with his life anyway.
Yeah, they do manage to use that space to finally clear out the top tier one, so you're not too upset about that kill. Of course, it's some really needed gold and EXP for Canis Vulpus. Kind of catch up. He's lagged behind after those couple of deaths, so he does need to work the map a bit more, surrender the jungle space towards that Gyrocopter. Pale Horse for his part, trying to rush the BKB on the Gyro is going to be pretty darn nice. You're going to be blocking off a lot of the control here from Wind and Rain, except for the Chaotic Offering, but it's not like the Warlock is always going to have that golden opportunity to drop the Golem, so we'll see if that lines up for the side of Wind and Rain. What we need to see from Wind and Rain now is perhaps playing his 4. Haunt is going to be off in about 20 seconds. You're sitting on Ravage, you're sitting on Dream Coil, you're sitting on Chaotic Offering. You have to get these spells off soon, because, well, you're not really making use of them if you're just kind of passively there. So you need to get those big cooldowns off, and again, look for some objectives or some big kills.
Ball down. Mid lane, just going to be on the creep wave. Just a bit of a farming ulti there from Pale Horse, as he just wants to go back into the jungle and keep just farming efficiently. Arkosh, they were smoked up. They get some nice deep observer wards in the Radiant Triangle, but Goat may pay for it with his life, and it looks like he will. The upheaval slow and dagger going to be more than enough, and Rose, he'll come in and clean up. Mind you, Rose, he's been falling a little bit behind in terms of farm when you compare him to Pale Horse, but well, actually, it's a lot of farm. Almost 3k behind Pale Horse right now, but I suppose that is to be expected, though. It is a Gyrocopter after all. In fact, speaking of, Rose, where did he haunt to? Down the bot side. Sabo going to try and... In fact, never mind. He went back top. They're going to fight again. Pale Horse and Crow going to be in danger, but they relocate out. Meanwhile, bot lane, Sabo and Cassius C does manage to kill off Canis Vulpus. And boy, oh boy, those fights were all over the map.
Yeah, it's a bit unfortunate for Canis Vulpus, again, going pretty darn deep, trying to find that spec, trying to find the Sabo kill down bot. Never expects the puck coming in. I think Cassius C's positioning, trying to match the Emperor Spirit's aggression, has been pretty darn on point. Just ensuring there's punishment to come through every single time he tried to make plays like that, and it has slowed down Canis Vulpus' game. He is definitely lagging behind over down mid.
Coming missile out. Be on to the Dark Willow. Nice stun there from Gremlo, and that is going to be at least one down. Sabo, he gets the tip immediately from Pale Horses. Now they're going for more, but Rose is going to show up on the Spectre. They're going to try and fight. Canis, he even TP's in on the Ember. This could be dangerous for Wind and Rain, but they're going to try anyway with a big golem drop. But the Earth Spike out from Goat is going to stop them in their tracks, and now they will turn around onto Rose and get the Spectre. Why? He's going to try and run, but, well, there you go. Canis Vulpus, he tells you all you need to know. It was a really nice golem drop, but the Earth Spike was there from Goat before the stun actually happened, and there you go. War, they're kind of in the middle there somewhere. Not quite A, not quite B.
Yeah, Arkosh really just started to work this out really well. 3k lead up on their side to go instantly into the Roche with a Slardar, and with an Ember and Gyrocopter, this doesn't take all too long. They've got an Aegis up and running for Pale Horse. He's protected, he's got his Ags up, he's feeling great on the Gyrocopter. Rushing towards the Satanic next. So he really just wants to live through these fights, just have that burst healing on hand. With the Ags up, you're going to be perfectly fine once you pop the Satanic, even if you're kind of just disabled. Side Gunner will heal you up. So it's looking pretty darn nice for Arkosh already. For Wind and Rain, I have to say the fights haven't been executing cleanly. Like, Arkosh are starting to find some angles. They're playing really well with Gremlo's Blink.
That's a nice Earth Spike in the mid lane, but it's not going to matter. Goat is going to die. Now Canis, he showed up. He's actually out of mana there for a moment. In fact, Coil is going to be up from Cassius C into the Dream Coil. And the terrorized Sabo, helping set up for a nice kill onto Canis. No tips out though, Wind and Rain deciding to stay quiet this time around.
Yeah, it's still really good punishment coming out here from Wind and Rain. Just, again, every single time Arkosh streaming 1-by-1, they've got a lot of control in Wind and Rain's end. They've got some really good hold for the Ember, and it just so happens Cassius is always there with the Dream Coil. So you can't underestimate that Dream Coil plus Fear combo with a Puck and Dark Willow. It is fairly potent. in terms of just locking in and hurting down an Ember until the BKB's up. So Canis Vulpes probably hold back in the aggression bit, just save up for the BKB, and at that point you can start going a little bit ham again. Of course, there's not much space in the map to farm when Pale Horse is taking literally the entire jungle. So I can see why Canis Vulpes feels that pressure to show up in lane, try to find pickoffs, just needs to temper down the aggression, but they're still giving a few opportunities here and there to Win and Rain. For Win and Rain's part, they're still finding some stable build-up for Rose.
lane.
It's just not the same speed.
Gremlo, he's going to be relocating from Crow. That'll allow both of them to get out, I suppose. Gremlo, he might just be relocated out. No, Crow, he'll leave him. Goat is around with the finger, so they want to try and go for a kill. Sword, he might be a little bit too tanky though, as he does go for the Ravage. It's worth it if they can kill Gremlo, and it looks like they will. Of course, you would have rather hold it and maybe go for the Dream Coil instead, but I suppose the Ravage is a little bit better for zoning out the line. Meanwhile, mid lane, they're trying to go in onto Y, but now Canis is going to be in danger. The Curse Crown and Terrorize into the Brambles, and the Bedlam. Going to be way too much damage there from Sabo. On Arkosh. The one saving grace is the fact that Pale Horse is really farming quite nicely in the Gyrocopter, but you don't want to give too many kills away to the side of Wind and Rain. That is going to help the Spectre catch up, and well, Rose is still 5k behind the Gyrocopter, but it is still a Spectre. It will eventually get there.
Yeah, and the one thing again for Arkosh is that it feels like they want to keep playing aggressive and try to get some pickoffs, and they do smoke up, but Pale Horse is right behind them.
They have the coil though, and the golem for that matter. This could be very dangerous, but they haven't noticed Arkosh are behind them. Goat's gonna cut them off, but Cassius C, look how fast this puck is. Great reaction speed from Cassius C to just jump right in as the smoke breaks. Gets rid of the line, but Goat is gonna buy it back. They know Sword does not have that Ravage, but there's your Haunt in. They get the vision. Now the big golem drop onto 3 heroes with the Fatal Bonds out, but Pale Horse is still going to try and fight. Canis is in as well, right onto Sword, but Sabo, he's already killed off Crow. It just may not matter as Wind and Rain are falling like flies right now. They'll lose 2 for 2 so far. And there's your homing missile out onto Rose. They'll chase him down. Remnant forward from Canis. And that should be Rose gone. And it is. Wind and Rain cannot protect the Spectre. You know, I suppose it was pretty even to start with, but eventually getting the Spectre kill is going to feel quite nice for Arkosh Gaming.
Yeah, Wind and Rain, maybe just a bit too hasty to force that fight. Didn't quite have Ravage lined up for the Chaotic Offering, and you really need that combo to go off cleanly, especially since the Satanic is up and running here on Pale Horse. Even if you kind of hold him down, isolate out the IO, just having the Satanic and Ags up at, what, 23 minutes in is ridiculous. Like, you're going to heal through it as the Gyrocopter. There's not quite enough burst damage on hand from Wind and Rain to stop a Gyrocopter from just healing through there. And it's going to be a bit of an issue now whenever Pale Horse shows up to these fights. He's going to be very difficult to burst down. Goodness me.
Well, what's with these shrimp insults, John? I don't understand.
I don't know. I just know, in my experience in the Philippines, it's not quite a pleasant thing to call people.
I see.
At least the connotations I have here culturally. That's why I'm like, oh, I'm not touching that. I know what it means in Filipino. Nope, nope, nope.
Fair enough. Guess it's best we don't know. Arkosh.
Oh, but these are demons, you know.
They are demons.
They do want to be in your head. They want to make you panic. And Wind and Rain, after a really good start, I think they've been kind of lagging behind the team fights. This Aeon Disc on the puck should help the cause. So you should still get utility out from Cassius, even if he gets jumped first. The Lion Burst is not going to be as amazing if he manages to get that unlock on his item right in time to have that Aeon Disc pop when he wants it to. And you will have to watch yourself on Arkosh. And they're still starting to group up. They've got the blink up and good as well. So the line can take point. Just again, be cautious about the Aeon Disc, because that will break your combo off. It's in the, passive name, of course. Side of Wind and Rain, still need to stall the game. I mean, 7k difference, 6k difference between a Spectre and a Gyro is to be expected. It's not too bad for a Spectre, but you need to stall it out and keep it at a consistent gap, whereas, you know, at some point 6k is not going to feel like a huge enough difference for a Spectre to play against, so just need to hold steady until you reach that point.
Yeah.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
Pale Horse, he's going to start pushing down that bottom tier 2 tower by himself. Very confidently. No worry in the world for this Gyro.
is no more.
Going for the BKB up next, which is going to make him that much harder to take out throughout this game. Pretty big group up here from Arkosh. They do have 2 smokes on Goat right now, so they could go for a smoke, but looks like they're just going to run their way through to the mid lane instead. Suppose if anything, Arkosh should be looking for the Roshan as their next objective. They might just want to go for a big team fight first, and now they do smoke up.
Radiant's
Up towards the top
tower is
lane.
under attack.
If they could just catch the Warlock, even the Tidehunter, hell, even the Dark Willow, that should just almost guarantee them the Roshan. As you see, Sabo gonna get caught out. Gremlo, he does get the stun off onto Sabo. That should be at least a dead Dark Willow. He'll try to terrorize, but it is not gonna work out for him. Pale Horse, 7, 2, and 5 on the Gyro. Not gonna rush towards the Roshan yet. It looks like that was not enough for them. They'll just not. They'll get back to farming first.
Yeah, I think they're gonna have to just wait a little bit longer for the rush to show itself as well. Canis Volt is still all
Yeah.
around the map.
Arkosh, X, oh, they got the Warlock. Excuse me, by the way, didn't even realize that Roshan wasn't up yet, but still nice kill onto Y. Pale Horse able to get it, and I suppose this is the scary part about the Gyro, right? As soon as you're alone and they see you, they're just going to relocate in, and it's not going to be too hard to kill you off. In fact, Cassius C,
Oh my god.
that's a lot of damage. There's a hell of a lot of damage. Homing Missile will chase him down, but he's going to be alright.
Jeez, even sword. Just nuts.
Is under attack.
Goodness. Pale Horse. Just tickles a bit too hard. He's got the full Mjolnir up. So he definitely right-clicks like a machine gun now. And gonna have, again, a very hard time against the Gyro, especially with the DD running right then. But does fade. Roshan, next rush is still about 2.5 minutes off. 2 minutes 20. So it's going to be some time before Arkosh or Wind and Rain starts to look at that objective. It's more time for Wind and Rain to, again, stall out for the Spectre. They do have all their spells plus Haunt up, so they can look for a smoke opportunity here.
Yeah, Sword's going to rush in. He does have to blink. Gremlo, he targeted. Curse Crown out, but that'll force the BKB from Gremlo, and he's just going to try and run away. Dagger is going to follow him down, but he's eventually going to be able to run his way out. Looks like Sword does have a quick peek into the Roshan pit, see if it is up yet, but it's not quite there. They really want to desperately try and use these ultis, but I suppose at this point you may as well wait for that Roshan timing. Unless you're very confident to get a pretty big team fight out of it. But Arkosh, they're not positioning in a way that you could really take advantage of at the moment. It's going to be rather difficult to find the openings if you're Wind and Rain. Mid lane. Pale Horse to move up into that triangle. Canis. They'll see Sword. Get the chains off. Sword going to be in danger. Kraken shot does kick in. There's your Ravage out. He's trying to just walk his way out with that Ravage, but it is not going to work. That is very bad news. Canis has a bit of a laugh about it. Yeah, it feels like he should have probably just held the Ravage, but does end up using it a bit defensively. And well, now the Roshan still not up, but once it is, without the Ravage, I'm sure Arkosh will rush for it. Canis on that mid lane. Try and go into Cassius C. Gremlo there, but doesn't really hit the stun. Goat does, however. Cassius C, he had the Aeon Disc, but it's not. Oh, maybe it does. The finger was phase shifted off. Very, very nice play there from Cassius C. Just barely surviving with his life intact. And well, now Arkosh is just going to try and run. He'll be just fine as Pale Horse into the Roshan pit. Does spot it out now. They'll get started on that Roshan. Mid lane, Rose. Try and disrupt this Roshan happening. Canis, he's going to remnant in. Sword's still around, but doesn't have Ravage up, so go onto the Warlock. Golem is going to be dropped, but is it going to be enough? Pale Horse is just man-fighting the Spectre. Rose trying to haunt down, but there's nowhere safe to haunt to. They get the Terrorize, but it is not going to matter. The BKBs was there. Crow just going to take him down. Gremlo not even dying there, and Crow also surviving. A triple kill out for Pale Horse, and well, it's looking very bad now for Wind and Rain. Arkosh, they're going to start rushing through the mid lane. Roshan's still up, but they won't go back for it yet. Get to meet some objectives first, and I suppose they have all day to go back to that Roshan. Buyback from Sabo. They defend this. Sabo, he's going to take a lot of damage, and he just melts the Canis Vulpus. My goodness. Onto the tier 3 tower they go now, knowing there's a dieback on the Willow. That'll be at least 1 Rax, and there's your easy mid out from Canis Vulpus. I mean, why the hell not? Arkosh, 1 Rax up, they're going to back off now. Still have a Roshan to play for, still have a top tier 2 tower. Wind and Rain, 15k net worth behind. It's not going to be a great spot for them. Even looking back to the Spectre, Rose, he tried to man-fight the Gyro in the middle of that last team fight, but it just didn't work out. Even with the Eye of Skadi, Satanic, the damage output was just way too high. It's like Arkosh now with the Aegis Shards and Cheese up. Be more than happy to start moving into the high ground again. By the way, in case any of you are wondering, John has had a power outage, so he should be back soon, but he may not make it back for game 1. Probably game 2. Just Philippines things. Arkosh now, back to the high ground, Sword. Gonna try and chip away at the HP pool of Pale Horse, but he's just so darn tanky. Try again. Rose is onto the Gyro, but gets stunned up, and Pale Horse is doing so much damage to himself with that Blade Mail active, but eventually he will go for the BKB Satanic. He won't heal up too much and might have to back off now, but he will survive. Wind and Rain just gonna have to be happy with kind of just defending this high ground. They need a lot more time for Rose on the Spectre to get that farm up. Arkosh, of course, still with the Aegis up. They're not going to back off. Just waiting up that Satanic cooldown. They may wait out the BKB too, but no, they found Rose. They get the Hex off. They want to jump in, but a big Ravage out. Sword, he lands onto 4 with the Terrorize and the Golem with the Fatal Bonds, but where's your damage output? Now the Haunt comes out. They are just melting, but are they melting fast enough? Pale Horse, he's going to turn around and try to fight back. Onto Rose, there's your call down, but it is not going to land onto anyone. So they get the tier 3 tower. Into the top racks they go. Sword, he's going to try and defend the best he can, but all he can really do is anchor smash right now as Rose gets stunned up. Goat is right in with the finger. Gets a nice Tidehunter kill for himself, and Arkosh, they're onto the tier 4 towers. They didn't even want the Mega Creeps. Screw that. They don't need it, I guess, in a 5v3 situation. Just feeling very confident to finish off this game. And that they will as they try to go in. Rose is trying to fight this one out, but the stuns are there from Goat. And that'll be enough, Arkosh. They will get the GG well played call before they finish the Ancient, but it's a very dominant kind of game 1 here from Arkosh. As I say that, I mean, the first half of the game, it was fairly close between these two teams, but I suppose Pale Horse just farms way too fast in this Gyrocopter. Apparently Gremlo has no items at the end of the game, so there's that. Apparently he wasn't farming too well, but, well, Pale Horse just way too quick on the Gyro. And the Spectre does prove to not be quite quick enough. With that, we are going to have to head off back to the break screen and go to a break, but we are going to be back with our second game as you can see, our admin is letting me know that John's power has died. So we'll be right back. Hopefully John will be back for game number 2, and we'll see if Wind and Rain can try to force this to a game number 3, or whether Arkosh are going to be able to pull off a 2-0 victory. We'll see you all again very soon.